human perspective.
Is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Sharing the love, spreading the light in real time. Friday night love stream.
Very happy to have a guy we instantly resonated with. Unbiased and on the fence. I'm talking about Shane C. Robinson. And his purpose is to rise above the worldviews that are designed to separate us so we can unite as one.
Sometimes you have to sort of take a step back, and I think Unbiased and on the Fence is a really, really good title for your show, because you are in the central point when you're unbiased and on the fence. That's what it means. It doesn't mean you're indecisive. It means you are taking the central point and you're seeing the multiple perspectives.
Unbiased and on the fence.
If you haven't checked Unbiased on the Fence, go and check his channel out. You might like it.
This is Dan Hofeld from Talk is Cheap, and you're listening to Unbiased and on the Fence with Shane Robinson.
If this much sincerity enters your life, come to this much. What I know, I know. What I do not know, I do not know. I don't believe anything, I don't disbelieve anything. I'm willing to look at everything. You will become a sensible human being.
Have you checked out our website?
Visit us on the web at uotf.net. You're listening to The Love Stream.
All around the world in real time.
This is Shane with Unbiased and On the Fence. You're listening to the Friday Night Love Stream.
Your calls, your stories, on air. You're listening to the love stream.
Sharing the love and spreading the light all around the world. This is Unbiased and On the Fence.
Unbiased and on the fence.
And happy Friday or Saturday or whatever it is for you right now listening to this broadcast. I hope you guys are feeling great. If you notice in the intro there, I've got the golden pipes of Alan. And that's from the Twin Flame Divine Fire Radio folks, Alan and Sandra over there. And I'm going to be joining them tomorrow. So make sure if you aren't subscribed here that you do subscribe, because I'm going to send out a notification with the links just before, probably about an hour before I go live. And then you guys can hop over there in the chat and even call in if you like. I am having a problem with viewing the chat over here, so if I miss something, I do apologize. It keeps turning on and off on me. But let's see here. So let's see if we get any callers this week. I will. Let's see. It's telling me to restart this other computer. Anyway, the phone lines are open. 2 different numbers, so if you have a problem getting through on one, you can try the other one if you're in the U.S. And of course, everyone else all around the world. You can either find the number below in the description or just join from the computer, from the website, which is easy to do.
What do?
you're enjoying the tunes, these are the Wingmakers. You can look them up on YouTube for free. This is Chambers 1 through 9, the Wingmakers music.
So, I know the last time I
Actually,
called in.
actually, we're just now going live, so they didn't hear you until now. You're saying the last time you called in what?
Okay, good. Oh, the last time I called in, I just had like diarrhea in the mouth. I'm so sorry. I
Oh,
listened back because I thought
that was
I
great. I
wanted to
enjoyed
hear
it.
the answer. Okay, well, I was hoping this time I was just going to ask you and like really listen to some of your answers. What I'm going through right now on a personal level is I really don't want to say confusion, but it's not really confusion as much as it is like I'm just ready to lay everything I know down and just forget it and start over or something because I feel like, ignorance is bliss in a way. Because, I'll learn something and it'll always bring me back to the Bible, and it seems like there's always a counterfeit or a right and a left or a counterfeit to something that is of Christian. And example, like the Holy Spirit, receiving the Holy Spirit, then they would, not to label it, but just to, be in conversation, but like the New Age is, with the Holy Spirit, they call it a Kundalini awakening. Speaking in tongues is light language. All these things. So then, like, it's like the right and the left is, and it's not even really religion. Yeah, I understand religion is a false light. I mean, I get that, but I'm not even talking about religion. I'm talking about personal relationship with God and Jesus. And then also, but I believe in so many things. It's left me, I feel like it is, I'm on a treadmill, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not getting anywhere because I'm not holding on to anything.
Well, I don't know. Do you feel like that's a bad thing?
Well, a scripture that comes up to me a lot in my mind is being a double-minded man. Do not ask or expect that you'll receive anything in prayer when you ask of God. But I'm so blessed. I mean, like, I have been, through the whole coronavirus, COVID thing, I have been so blessed financially with the people I'm working with. My family is blessed. My son just bought his first, my son is 24 years old, and he just paid cash for his first house. He got the keys today. I mean, so it's like, I have all these blessings, so that doesn't add up. I just feel like I have too much book knowledge in my head, if that makes any sense. It's like I'm book smart. You know how book smart people don't have any common sense?
Right, I know what you mean. Yeah, but I think on one hand, it's only human to sort of get caught up on the labels. I don't feel like from the other aspect of it, it's that big of a deal whether you call it a Kundalini or a Holy Spirit or, a great feeling. I mean, it doesn't matter what you label, whatever it is. If you've got that experience of that, you know what I mean. I don't feel like actually in that instance, it's looking at wheat and tares like good or bad. I do believe in this realm. We can look at 5G or 5D for your symptoms. I mean, that's what I love about that Q map or whatever, because you can look at it either way and it fits either way. But what reality do you want to create? You know what I mean? And it's like, what bandwagon do you want to get on? I don't really know what it is. I don't really, you don't even have to pick one. You can just say, I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, I'm okay. I know I'll be fine with it. I know, I've been fine up to this point and I'll be fine moving forward. And really, you know what? I think that's the feeling you're getting of throwing all that away is actually a good thing, because at the end of the day, Jesus even said it, the kingdom of God is within you. You don't have to go to any of those external sources and make sense of it externally when you have that experience of going within and having that direct connection, with Jesus and with the Holy Spirit and with God or whatever you want to label it. It's a very real thing for you, It's gotten you this far.
Yes, and that's great. But the thing that I'm getting now is, well, I think it's because of what I listen to and dabbing into I love listening to Bible studies, and then of course, gleaning what makes sense to me. But a lot of times in a lot of the Bible studies that I've been listening to lately, they're just all pointing to, oh, well, the false light that is of Satan. And this would be Christians who believe in, the satanic energy and demons and whatnot, okay? So that's their language. But they're just saying, just remember that Satan will come as angel of light, which the Bible does say that. And it's going to be a false light. And then a lot of what I thought is truth, they're saying it's counterfeit. And I guess that's where I'm at, like saying I don't care what other people say. Like, I got to know where the Bible says my sheep will know my voice, But I got to tell you, the more I study things, I'm wondering if it all got turned upside down. The whole light thing, the Lucifer light thing and all of that. It just seems like everything... it's not so much, everything could be a deception and a lie, like almost everything, like what Christians are teaching, what the New Age is teaching, and that's just where I'm at right now. It's just like, oh my gosh, like, what do I believe? I feel like I have a head full of knowledge, but I still don't have solid ground.
Well, I think that's where really, your discernment comes into it, and the whole quiver and the liver thing you talk about. I mean, it's there. You've got everything you need within you to discern false light from real light and love from fear. And I think if you're resonating in fear about whether or not what you're looking at, I'd say that's the indicator right there that, that's an area that you don't even need to dive into. The fear of, it's a resonance. You resonate with something. You don't fear something. Do you know what I mean? You want to go with what you're resonating with and not try to resist. It's more of a resonating thing and staying in the vortex rather than trying to stop something or resist something or, that's when you're kind of putting energy in the wrong direction,
Right. Right, and that makes sense. In the moment and talking with you, but then I guess because of just reading so much and where it says that, the blue flame theory really is where it began, like really blowing my mind. Because how they said that people will think they're hearing God, but it's not. It's going to be the Antichrist, if you will, but it's going to be the false Christ, put it that way. Right. And people will be thinking that they can speak telepathically. Well, they will be able to speak telepathically, and they'll think it's of God, but it's not.
Right. I mean, and then they got the voice to God, or what is it? God to head technology, or voice to brain, or whatever it is. But I know, and there's
it.
So here's how I look at it. I look at it whether you're looking at Christianity or the New Age community or whatever group you're looking at. There's always going to be the wheat and the tares. That's why, and it's going to be like that until the end, just like Jesus said, when they're plucked out, and then we can make sense of it all. But until then, it's sort of up to us to go with what we resonate with and go with the wheat if we want an abundant sort of existence and experience, or go with the tares if we want that sort of tears go with the tares,
right. Yeah, I like that. Tears go with the tares. The wheat and the tares. But there you go again. It's that whole division thing, that whole right and left, or wheat and tares, and and then it just says that you'll know them by their work. So my whole thing is I want to be able to stand before God and enter in my good and faithful servant, not depart from me, I never knew you.
Right. But that's still kind of tapping back into the fear-based programming. All right, let me just ask you this, right? Say you were God and you had you running around here on the planet, and you know your heart, right? You've been seeking your God or whatever, and diligently and doing all this, and then you're going to let yourself fall for some trick and then not make it and burn in hell forever. I mean, the whole idea of it is totally man-made. I mean, there's even parts in the Bible that says, if I know how to clothe the flowers and do all of this, why would I, you know what I'm saying? And the whole thing, like, you know, if you asked for a fish, would he give you a scorpion or a serpent? You know, that whole scripture I always bring up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the rock for bread or whatever. So if we wouldn't do this and we're evil, as the Bible says, then how much more will, you know, God give those the Holy Spirit that ask, is what it actually says. So I don't know. I don't feel like, I feel like there's a certain point where when you rise above all the fear that man has put in there, you can sort of surf on top of that and not get pulled into all of that chaos. Because at the end of the day, you know you have a direct connection with the divine within you. The kingdom of God is within, you know. And I think our group, you know, it came to me the other day, the word leaven, and I looked it up for the parable, and it's like just a small amount of yeast spreads throughout the whole batch of dough, you know. And it was kind of shown to me that, that we're like the leaven of the group. So we just need to shine our light. We need to share our love, shine our light, keep our peace about ourselves, and not get pulled into the chaos, especially the religious stuff right now. I think it's just more important than ever to stay grounded in the fact that we're sovereign beings. And, you know, and for us that came from Christianity, we're striving to be like Jesus. The way he did it, he's the way, the truth, and the life. He's our example. He's our role model to follow. Not so much someone that's going to do it all for us and we don't have to do anything like religion. He's just showing us the way. You know what I mean? That's what I believe anyway.
Right. No, I like that. And it's, you know, yeah, that's where I'm at right now. No, that makes great sense, because I get pulled and think, oh my gosh, you know, I need to be at church on Sunday, but then sometimes when I'm there, I'm thinking, this is so religious. I don't want to be here.
You know what did it for me? What did it for me is, like, I went to church a few months in a row after I found out the whole Paul thing, and they never read anything from Jesus. It was always Paul, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's totally true. It's not even, why not? I want to hear what Jesus said, you know? So anyway.
Right.
And I know that's my thing, you know, but I don't know. I don't feel like they taught the same thing.
Right. I mean, once, you know, you planted that seed there with the whole Paul thing, and that.
But I think we got what we're
now,
supposed to get. I think it's all designed this way. You know what I mean? It's designed that you can, if you take that sort of superficial look, it looks like this nice, complete little package, right? But as soon as you get hungry for a deeper knowledge, you start looking at things and you peel off a layer, and the Bible is completely different than it was when you were just sort of a Sunday Christian that just read scriptures that the preacher called out. When you really get in there and you read the whole thing and you start making these connections and these dots, then you start seeing things on a deeper and deeper and deeper level. And that's why I had to read it over and over again, because as soon as I realized something, I'm like, oh my God, let me reread the whole thing and see if it fits. And I had to sort of like dissect all of the religious stuff out that they put in there. I'm like, wait, does it even say that? You know, and then I go through the whole thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's totally man-made. And one of the books that really got me was called Charting the End Times by Tim LaHaye, which is the End Times, what was that, Left Behind? One of the writers or something.
Oh,
he worked on that project.
Yeah.
And I got that book, Charting the End Times, because it was supposedly going to like lay out like how the whole end times scenario played out scripturally. And then when I got there and I like saw how flimsy it wasn't even really based on, there was probably a dozen or two scriptures. You would think there would be way more for them to build this whole, you know, this whole idea, but so much of it is sort of just, I mean, I could take all the scriptures they have to support the whole Left Behind idea and come up with a completely different scenario about how it plays out. That's how flimsy it is. So this has been sort of, I don't know, it's been like for so long now since A Distant Thunder in the 70s that I watched. That was the one with the Unite vans going around and they were going to chop people's head off that didn't get the mark. I don't know if you saw that one, we saw that at church.
I used to talk to my children about that, and I'd be like, even if they cut my head off in front of you, just know I'm going to a better place. Don't take the mark. Like they still tell that story, and they're like, I'm like, well, just remember that too. Well, I do believe that they're going to try, you know, the buy, sell, and trade thing. Like
oh my gosh, you see how it's fitting this so much? right now it's fitting it
Yeah,
so much
that.
with this ink and stuff that they're wanting to put in the, in the shots or whatever. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so perfect. This hopefully will wake up the whole Christian community and like, wait a minute, this sounds a little bit like Revelation, you know what I mean? And I don't know.
Right.
I see it all playing out that way. I don't see it as it's really going to happen or anything as much as it's like going to trigger people to wake up because they're like, oh my gosh, this is really it. I can't buy or sell unless I get this ink thing on me, You know what I mean? It fits perfectly.
Right. Would you take it? Are you going to take it?
Heck no, I'm not taking it.
I'm not either.
I'll
I'm growing a garden
nature.
and canning and.
Yeah, I'll trust. I don't need to buy or sell or do anything. In fact, that might be the divide there because I know there'll be other people that have stores and transportation and all sorts of stuff for people that decide they don't want to trust some lab coats to their health. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's trying stuff
it's so
out.
ridiculous. When you see that, and I'm zapping people, I'm a temp taker, so I'm taking the temperatures. I do health screening for this company, MGP, for the workers and employees that come through.
Mm-hmm.
And we have this screen. They put up a plastic, screen to protect us from anyone sneezing and stuff. But everyone there, we all think it's all BS. Even the people who are doing it, but they have to comply to keep the doors open. They have to comply with the government, with the CDC and stuff. So it's like, even though we're all like, this is ridiculous,
Yeah.
So on the outside of the plexiglass, there's a hole where people have to stick their head now and we take their temperature. They just started doing that this week. So me and my coworker, Wendy, we put a sign on there that says, do not tap on the glass and do not feed the health screeners. And we put a Big Mac and a Coke and fries, and we marked it out like no feeding the health screeners. Because it was like we're on exhibit. So we made fun of it, but it's surreal too. And just think, like, right now you can't buy, sell, or trade. Well, maybe sell online, but as far as going into a store without wearing a mask, at least in our state of Indiana, it's mandatory.
Most places
so
are like
before
that,
you even walk in a store.
Yeah.
So just imagine we have to wear a mask, even though we know, in my opinion, it doesn't help or anything, and it's just ridiculous. But I'm doing it, and I'm thinking, wow, how easy is it going to be for them to enforce, the
Well, they won't
chip.
make it mandatory on that, though. Because, people will be lining up for that. Just like the new iPhone. If they're like, the new iPhone has this chip in the back of your brainstem, and it's like, oh, people will be lining up the night before they open. You know what I mean? Because
yeah, they will.
Let's see.
That's
you guys must be behind.
That's a whole other thing.
Yeah, I wanted to tell you this because Sherry sent me something that Sandy, her mom, had sent me, and I thought it was funny because it goes right along with what you said. It's like a little meme, and it says, "Do not let them take your temperature going into the store. It's a scam. They're erasing your memory. I went in for bread and eggs and came home with Bluebell ice cream and Snickers."
I saw that. That's hilarious.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
You got to make fun of it and have fun with it. But even though I know the COVID virus is real because my daughter had it and experienced that. And did you see where Lori Lothian, is that how you say her name?
Mm-hmm. Lothian, yeah.
She has it or had it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she put a thing out and just was saying how horrible sick she was and like it was real. And, so... I don't doubt that it's there. I just think, all the other stuff. But regardless, I didn't want to talk about it because it's, like, so boring now.
Well, that video, the funny thing that came out is my wife and I were having lots of hiccups last week. And for, like, 2 days. And we're like, why are we having so many hiccups? It makes no sense or whatever. And then that video came out this week saying that's a symptom of COVID, hiccups. So then I was like, oh my gosh, and then my daughter tested positive for it and was quarantined in her house for a week, had zero symptoms at all. She's just sitting at home like, this is so boring, and we had to watch our grandson. So then I remember going on the air during the conference, and we had that glitch, and I kept saying a little bit of a hiccup here or something. It kept glitching over and over again. I'm like, oh my gosh, did like my higher self precognitively tell me that, the whole hiccup thing? I don't know. I'm just speculating. I don't really know.
Yeah,
I've
that's
been feeling great, though.
funny.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I feel, yeah, so, I mean, I think it's like so, and then you have all the violence, but like not even focusing on that. But you said something, and I didn't actually get to really hear you clearly from my lack of listening, and I do apologize, but about the blood of Christ, that in the Gospels, that Jesus never said that he came here to sacrifice his life for us for forgiveness of sins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, so, but he does say, the Son of Man has full power to forgive sins on earth, and also,
to lay his life down and pick it up or something.
He laid his life down and picked it up, and he knew he wasn't really going to die. I mean, he knew he was going to ascend, but basically showing us how to do it, be 100% flesh and conquer all. But can you elaborate on the what do you feel that you even need forgiveness of sins, and do you feel that Christ is the way? How he says, "You do not know my Father unless you come through me. You must come through me before you can know my Father. You must come through the gate, basically through Jesus for salvation." So do you feel, or in your experience, feel that you need Jesus for salvation?
I don't feel like I need Jesus the man as Christianity teaches. I don't feel like it's a Jesus the man sacrificial thing. Now, I should preface this by saying that I believe that, there are people that works for, but not from the perspective of when I was in Christianity, and, I felt like that was the only way, that was how that's the only path everybody must take. If you don't take this exact path, you don't get in. I don't believe that. But I do believe it works for some people. So I believe it's a valid path, but I believe that there's a better way. There's a deeper way. That can be a stepping stone to something greater.
Like Christ consciousness.
Right, to actually be an avatar.
Man.
Right. Do you want to become a son of God? Do you want to actually do the will of the Father and not your own? You know what I mean? Do you want to reach that Christ consciousness level to where, you're actually performing miracles like Jesus did? Or do you want to, have him be your scapegoat, which I believe, I don't believe that's technically how it has to happen, but I believe it works for some people. Like they can't forgive themselves, so it's easier to believe that Jesus can do that for them, and it works for them because it's a mental thing. You know what I mean? It's like so much of, so many rituals. In fact, I believe like most rituals and things like that are not actually doing anything other than in the mind. It's helping that person release or let go or whatever. You know what I mean? It's not like you have to really do this formula to release this magic something. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I think I totally agree with that. Like we would say, the ritual of taking and partaking of the Lord's Supper or communion. Now, the Church of Christ used to teach, because the Bible said upon the first day of the week they came together to break bread. For the Lord's Supper in remembrance of him. Jesus said, "Do this in remembrance of me." Now, breaking the bread could be the bread of life, the Word of God, drinking the wine or, the blood. I mean, you think about that blood. Like, Catholics believe it really turns into blood, and they drink it, okay? Well, how is that different than what the Illuminati does, and also cults and things who drink supposedly children's blood and stuff? So it's like, that's where things get all twisted sometimes for me, because of knowing
Yeah,
more than
I feel what you're
just the
saying.
Bible.
Yeah, but there's like, that's funny because I remember going through this whole thing too, and it's like, oh my gosh, they're doing the blood sacrifice. They've all been tricked, you know. But even that is a game, you know what I mean? It's like you slip out of one game and you fall into another one. But at the end of the day, you step back and see these are all just little stories and dreams and plays and games within games within games that people are playing, and nobody realizes that. Huh?
Yeah, what if you came, I get the whole game, well, I don't maybe completely understand your game theory, but I get the concept. And what if, let's say, in order for me to be victorious and win, my game is Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
And stepping outside of that I'm not going to reach my full potential. But if I stay inside my lane, my game, I can reach my full potential. Not that I wouldn't be a part of another game, but I may not reach my full potential with that. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Right. So you're saying if you wanted to stay in the Christian game and reach your full potential in that, I don't see why you can't if that's what you want to do. But I feel like there's a certain level.
No, I mean, what if that's part of my calling? Like, let's just say, I'll use me as an example, but I'm just saying overall. So we all have this calling, you know, we all have this purpose in this place in the body of Christ. What if my calling was to make the bride of Christ, you know, through Christianity, complete Christ consciousness, whatever, expanded, like all things Christ, you know, make the bride of Christ, like that's what I came here to do and experience. So what if I, along the way, leave that game of Christianity and think, I don't want to play that anymore, and move on to another label or whatever, another game. You know, I wonder, does that mean I failed my mission?
No, not at all. No, I feel like
you can't lose.
I feel like there's a certain point where, like, kind of like your job, you know, you kind of outgrew it, you know. There's, but, you know, and that's, I think what you really have to look at, because it's such an individual thing that you can't make a blanket statement. I feel like everybody should follow their heart. There's like my sister, I've left her alone because she's got her thing she's doing. She's like this author. She's in the Christian community doing her thing, and it's not my place to try to change any of that. You know what I mean? I'm like, you know, and I've changed so much. And yeah, she's happy. She's doing what she wants to do, and I just support that as best I can. So, and then there's other people that do a lot of stuff like in the astral where they're like fighting, you know, spirits and doing things like that. I feel like they're there helping people that's sort of in that realm doing that, but it's not necessary. You know what I mean? You don't have to get in there and play that game. I don't play the game with the demons and stuff like that. I don't, you know what I mean? That's just not a game I'm sitting down at and playing, so it's not part of my reality. I don't deal with monsters and demons or anything like that at all. But that's because that's a game I don't play.
I do anoint my doorposts. I do anoint my doorways and doorposts with the anointed oil. But that's a ritual that works for me.
Right.
I mean, it's not necessary, but it works for me because I believe in it, you know. So
and that's the same way with
but I get what you're saying.
Having you know, crystals and things like that. They can really hold energy and help and amplify and do things like that. But at the end of the day, they're only a tool. They're not necessary, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, that makes so much sense to me. So right now, in my own personal experience, like what I said, I just feel like shedding it all, like just shedding it all off and not, I mean, it's going to be hard for me to say this, but it's hard for me to even say, but truth is, I feel like I'm even going to just lay the Bible down for a little while and not read anything for a little while on spirituality and stuff. Like I might read recipes and you know what I mean, because I feel like my head is so full of this knowledge, but now I need to integrate it and just know my heart. Like I know I always, you know, pray I choose love, and I mean that works for me. I'm a loving person, compassionate. I mean that's a natural thing that I was born with. But, you know, I'm just so tired of,
I know, yeah.
having conversations, and somebody will say something, and I can think of 10 scriptures, and then I can think of other 10 things that are controversial to that, and then, you know what I mean? And this is all going on in my head, and I just want to listen to someone.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, that's why I don't, unless somebody asks me anymore, I typically don't, offer out too much, unless it just comes up in conversation or whatever. Just because at the end of the day, people hear what they want to hear, and, you're probably more likely to trigger someone than, they'll either agree with you or get triggered. So it's kind of, it's kind of a moot point sometimes. It just brings stuff up out of the clear like that.
Right. Yeah,
but yeah, I wouldn't, you've still got your connection. You've still got, and you don't have to lay Jesus down, he's still your guy,
No. Yeah, Jesus is what makes sense to me, but it's not like you were saying. I totally understand what you're saying about the man Jesus or religion, but it's almost like I feel like that Jesus is saying, hey, come with me, come with me a little further. Let's just walk away. Walk away from this and just come with me. Sit with me. Just sit with me. Let's just observe. I mean, that's just how I feel right now. I just want to sit with Jesus and observe everything and just be without all this crazy, not even that they're crazy, but I'm tired of all these thoughts in my head.
That's it. You just have to be. I mean, think about something that's right before us, right? Do you have to tell a flower how to grow or a tree or the water how to flow? You just have to be. You'll go where you're supposed to go and do what you're supposed to do. That's the big secret. Don't sweat it. You're right on the right path.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. But really, it's like you're right where you're going to be.
But I know you probably have been here, so I love talking with you because I feel like you can relate and maybe even, I know you meditate a lot, and then for me, like working in the garden and stuff, that is my meditation and grounding, and it is when I don't think, it is my meditation.
Right.
But then sometimes when I'm trying to meditate, I so want to talk and hear from God, I just keep waiting. Like, come on, what are you going to say? What are you going to say? Come on. Like, why are you talking to everyone else and not me? This is crazy.
So do you listen?
Why do other people have superpowers?
Do you consciously listen?
I have learned to listen.
Okay, one of the things I found out is, when your kids are in the room and you think you hear somebody come in or your phone ringing in the other room, you're like, shh, and you tell them, you shush them all and you tell them to be quiet, to do that in your head, to the voices, and shush them and get that silence in the mind and see if you hear anything in that moment before the chatter begins again. Just try it and see what happens. It actually works pretty good for some people.
Okay, yeah, just
yeah, but in your head, like
shut your pie hole.
Right.
Come on.
I need to hear the Holy Spirit, or I need to hear the Lord, or whatever you want to. You know what I mean?
What I did start doing that has been effective for me is I proclaim, declare, and intend that when I am talking with God and seeking answers from within, that the first thought I have is the Holy Spirit, is God's thought, and that I trust and obey that first thought. So I have started that practice, and it's been kind of hard for me to obey or go with that. Like, oh, that's the answer. Quit asking. You got the answer. Your first thought. Because I declared that, and it's like, so I'm learning that and I'm practicing that, and like the first week was very intense because it'd be like, oh, come on, is that really what I'm supposed to do? And then I thought, no, I'm going to start trusting and obeying that because I intended and proclaimed it. And you got to start somewhere. So that is something that I do now. And it has, actually it's been great because I've got a lot of answers, and it has, panned out to be absolute truth.
Yeah, they're saying they're talking in the chat about how the ego can trick you, and the ego can be really cunning. But I think when you keep fear, like if you really focus and see if you're driven or if it's fear that's driving you to do something, like say you got bills coming up, you're going to take a new job, and you're going to take the job out of fear that you're not going to have your bill, to pay your bills. So your action is motivated by fear rather than, oh my gosh, I'm going to love this job. I've always wanted a job like this. So it's like really taking that moment to see if you're motivated by fear or by love or an excitement and by your heart. And I think when you see that, you see if it's rooted in love or fear or separation or unity, that gives you the root of whether it's matrix driven, which is doing its job, right? It's here to trick us.
Mm-hmm.
We're designed it that way.
Yeah, but then there it goes. There it goes again with that shadow of trickery and deception.
Yeah.
Oh, then, there's
That's what
that
makes
ego.
it fun.
And which
That's
one
what
are you
makes it
listening
fun,
to?
April.
Yeah.
I mean, think about sitting down and playing Pac-Man. Well, you sit down to play Pac-Man and you don't have any ghosts chasing you around, and you won't want to sit there very long eating the little pellets. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, once you realize there's nothing to fear, that what people typically think of as like evil spirits and stuff are just programmed. They're programmed entities, basically. They're not operating out of anger or they just really want to get you, like we think in religion. They're just doing what we designed them to do. They're trying to scare us away from the truth. They're like on the Truman Show when they're like, no, don't go out into the ocean. Your dad died out there. Don't go over the hill. There's monsters over there. You know what I mean? So they're the gatekeepers, like Sherry calls it. The gatekeepers to hide the fact that out of body, you can go do fun stuff. So there's that whole scary process you have to get through before you're able to get out of your body, where you feel like, oh my gosh, I got sleep paralysis. And, you just go through that whole thing. And it's like fear is at every doorway to something great. And you have to overcome that. And each time you realize there was nothing to fear anyway. You know what I mean? It's just the gatekeepers.
Gatekeepers. I like that. That makes sense. So then
don't worry about getting deceived. Just if you follow your heart with love and follow the passion and all of that, you'll be fine. Trust me.
But I'm still not taking any chip of any kind.
Yeah, I'm not getting any chips or inks or I'm not getting anything. Even if they're like, oh, this is old-fashioned V's, I'm not taking them. I don't need them. If it's my time to go, I'll go.
Right, exactly. Totally agree. All right, well, I'm going to let somebody else call in, and thank you so much. This has been very enjoyable.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll chat again. Thanks, April. Lots of love.
Lots of love. Love you to life. Bye-bye.
Love you to life. Bye-bye. All right, going to go back. 406 area code. Who am I talking to?
Hello, this is Myrna.
Myrna? Hey, how's it going?
This is Myrna from Montana. I've talked to you before, Shane. It's been several weeks since I last called.
Mm-hmm. How do you spell your name again?
And M-I-R-N-A.
Okay. I knew it was different than I was thinking. Okay. I got you. Yep, I remember you. How's it been going?
Myrna from Montana. Good. Just been very busy creating a food forest on our property.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like a homestead. And it's been a lot of work, very hard, especially with some of the stuff that we were watching in the news about a possible food shortage that may be coming in maybe something. It's just a potential timeline that might take place. So
right, yeah.
My husband always has this saying: "Hope for the best, prepare for the worst."
Mm-hmm.
So it's not what I envision in our timeline, but I think that it's a possible something that could happen. I don't know how long it will last, but based on what we see, that it's not happening to us, but to many, many people that are now going to be losing their jobs, facing addiction. So we foresee a height in homelessness. And there has been several sessions that I've been following the work of many hypnosis therapists. And I tend to listen to the ones that resonate with what I know within myself, and sometimes I'm usually just look for confirmations. But a lot of the sessions that I was listening to that I felt that were of high vibrational frequency, they talked about possible timeline on the 3D Earth for famine. They mentioned famine. So it's sort of, when I heard the news about a possible food shortage, I was not surprised. I'm like, well, gosh, I really hope we don't go that way. But I have to tell you, Shane, it is very hard to grow food. It's not something that that you learn overnight. You will have trial and error, and everything produces within different days and times. So it's like usually you can just go to the supermarket and get whatever your heart desires that they have available for you. It does not work that way.
Yeah, everything's seasonal, isn't it?
Yes, seasonal, and some things have 30 days, 60 days, even 90 days of the growing season, or how much it takes for you to get to be able to harvest whatever you're trying to grow. And for fruit trees, for example, some of them can take 3 years to start producing, some 5, some 7, and some like full of proteins like walnut trees and nut trees could take up to, depending on 7, 10 years, 20 years. So I just wanted to say to anybody who's listening, if you can plant a fruit tree, plant anything that you can, and because it takes some time to receive to be able to harvest from this. And things that we found out is that grapes are so resilient, and they just give you perennials. They just keep on giving you every year. So perennials are your. Oh yes, and they're so easy to grow. Somebody that we know, they said they accidentally ran the lawnmower over it, and that thing just came back to life.
Wow.
So
do they grow in a lot of different climates too?
Yes, they can grow. Some of them can grow in warmer climate, and some, we're here in Zone 5 in Montana. So I was surprised at the variety of grapes that we could grow here. So I just wanted to say to the listeners, I encourage them to plant something. Just start doing, just start looking into it and start learning about it in case we go through some difficult times in the near future.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a good thing to do. We're actually renting, so we can't, but I might be able to sneak and put a couple of grape seeds back behind the shed or something. I don't know.
Well, believe it or not, for people who are in your situation that have a limited space, there's microgreens that people in cities are growing and making actually quite a good amount of a couple of $1,000s a month.
Wow.
Selling microgreens.
Wow.
So it is not a problem. And some places, they got together, and if there was a space in the building, let's say the roof, they convinced the owner of the place to use the roof as a maybe if there was a place like some really high buildings like in New York and stuff, they have an area on the top where you can actually grow on top. But space is not a problem. You can even do microgreens inside your apartment. YouTube it, and you will find many people that will give you instructions on how to go about doing that. And therefore you will have something for yourself that is very good for you to eat. And in case you needed to trade, it's something that somebody else, food, this is one of the essentials, food, water, and shelter.
Yeah. Absolutely. So you have do you have quite a bit of land to work with where you're at?
Oh my God. We have only 2.2 acres. which is very little compared to many of the farmers that live here, and they raise livestock that have 600 acres or 80 acres. But
well, they have to have a lot of land
God.
for the livestock, don't they? I think they have to.
Yes, but with 2.2 acres, I'm already looking at what we have created this year, and I can see that in a small area that we put a fence around, we have, oh my God, it's not even 0.01% of our property, and we are able to grow enough food just for the four of us.
Oh, really? That's nice to know, though. Yeah.
In a very small piece of area, you can grow enough food for a family of four or more.
Has there been problems keeping like pests out and stuff, like keeping out rabbits and squirrels or anything?
That's why we fence it in, because we have deers here.
Oh, yeah.
And we have a lot of animals. We live very close to the forest, and so that you just create a fence, and we haven't had any problems with anything that we planted this year. And we planted 6 trees, fruit trees, and 1 walnut tree. So that's a long-term future investment.
Mm-hmm. That's very nice. It's nice to watch it all grow, huh?
It is incredible. It is there's something about not the work that you put into it, and you realize, oh my God, okay, so if you really think about it, if you were to have saved the seeds from an heirloom tomato when you were a child, 1 tomato, you would have had enough tomatoes from that 1 tomato to eat the rest of your life. Never would have had to buy a tomato ever, just from 1 tomato. So we are so accustomed to go buy stuff at the store, and you throw away the seeds.
Right.
And 1 seed, it could just keep on giving you and giving you and giving you. And the reason we started doing this is because I don't know if anybody else can relate to what I'm experiencing right now, but I'm from the wave of volunteers that awoken in 2013, 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a 7-year cycle. So one of the first, I had a Kundalini awakening, and a spontaneous Kundalini awakening. And I experienced the event, the flash, that everybody's been talking about. It happened to me in 2013, March 23rd, the spring equinox. And the first spirit guide that came to me, one of the first ones was White Buffalo Calf Woman. She was one of my first guides, and she came to me. She integrated with me, and she taught me how to do the shamanic rituals.
That's very cool.
And she also taught me about honoring all 4 directions. And about all the animals, the 4-legged, the winged animals, about the songs, everything has a song, and also the importance of what a woman played in the family life, and how our children are precious and beautiful, the love that she felt. I used to believe when that first happened to me that she was something outside of me. But I realize now, after 7 years and being on this journey, that she integrated with me. Somehow, that was the energy that I sort of attracted towards me. That was she was trying to help me at that time, and she basically, that spirit and me became one. So whatever she felt, her thoughts, her ideas, her feelings, I felt them too. And that's how I was able to write down all the messages that she was giving me. So I was able to feel that love that she had for children, the how she felt, her beliefs as far as the women, the role of the woman, how important it is at this time, more than ever, because we're bringing back the balance, bringing back that feminine energy to bring balance. It's going into the next cycle that we're going into. Then immediately the next spirit guide that came to me was Joshua, Jesus, And like I said, at that time, his energy integrated with my own. Whatever he thought, I thought. Whatever he felt, I felt. And we were one. And with him, the energy was different. With White Buffalo Calf Woman, it was a native energy. So I listened to songs and, and the ritual is different. I had no idea about this, but once she integrated with me, I was just an inner knowing that I had, and I just would do, and it brought me joy, and it resonated with me, and I just would do it. And then with Jesus, it was a completely different energy. The word I can say is divinity. His divinity, oh my God, his compassion. I felt it, very compassionate. And I also had visions that I somehow was able to see a woman that was there present when Jesus was being crucified as he was walking and he was carrying the cross, and I was like a woman in the woman in the crowd, and I was crying for mercy. So that was one of the things that I had seen during the time that Jesus was basically guiding me at that time and teaching me about, I don't know, I had that vision about his crucifixion that time, and compassion and the love that he felt, almost like he had this higher awareness, so he would see the people, and that's what he felt in his heart, that he had no ill feelings towards anybody but love, because he knew that they just were not awakened, and they did not know what they were doing.
Yeah, exactly. That's really the problem with everybody, isn't it? I think sleepwalkers is a good term. A lot of times people want to call them non-player characters, and in a way, it's sort of like they're asleep at the wheel. I guess that's fitting too. But I think everybody can wake up. It's in the potential there. It's just people choose not to, so they're kind of asleep. But yeah, I love that.
Yes. And so anyways, going back to the 7-year cycle, so I've had all these kind of different guides. Abraham in the beginning too came because of my Christian background. These are the guides that kind of come because then you can kind of relate with them. And the universe is just trying to assist you in whatever way it can when you first awaken and your soul is yearning for answers. So I was on that journey, but the first thing that I did was purify myself, and the way I was doing that is that I still felt heavy. Okay, so at first, when the flash happens, it feels like a near-death experience, and you see visions of your life, and you know that you were not alone, and you get a sense of knowing of purpose, that it was purposeful to bring you up to that moment that you would start the journey of ascension. And then you began to peel the layers of the onion, and that looks like you literally getting on your knees and crying because you're still feeling whatever pain comes up in the morning. If the world is heavy, or you're still carrying the world on your shoulders. So as you're healing yourself, you're also healing the earth and the world. So that's kind of like the gift that you give back. Because as you heal, that healing energy, you're just radiating it out, and other people that are ready to receive that energy receive it. So I did. That took me about 2 years because I had come into a family line that needed a lot of healing. Nobody had broken the cycle for many, many generations. There was pedophilia in that family. There was all kinds of darkness that other light workers are familiar with. And once I healed that, then I went into raising and connecting with higher beings. Like I had goddesses come. I felt like it was Isis, but there was an initiation. There was an energy of Buddha, which was the lotus flower that opened up from my endless blossoming flower that just was opening from my core, my chest. So after receiving all this knowledge and all this feeling of that oneness and stuff, I found myself almost being like a monk, meditating several times a day, whenever time I wanted, because honestly, I was sort of let's just say, addicted to it at that time,
Mm-hmm.
doing this and riding the waves. And I felt that was my purpose at that time, was to anchor the waves of energies that were coming. And my God, wow. Yes, they are beautiful. They are blissful. You have epiphanies of so many kinds. You understand so much. And then it gets to a point where you also realize your own sovereignty. When you realize that you're not being initiated as something you were in the past. Like you realize that you've had probably past lives that you worked with the energy and stuff, and this one, you're literally being initiated as the one that you are right now, taking everything from the future, from the past, and all integrating into this one life that you've decided to be that person who you are right now, to ascend. In this one last lifetime, which this is an opportunity for us to graduate and say no more to the darkness. Thank you so much for everything you taught me, and you see it from this perspective where all you feel is gratitude, where all you feel is complete understanding, and now is the gift that is given you to get you to that moment where you were initiated into a session, a opportunity to graduate out of here. And that's what's taking place. But it doesn't end there. After the 7-year cycle, I was basically told, I'm seeing my number 711 right now, Jesus. I was told that I needed to get off my meditation and plant the seeds, which we started doing, creating the abundance that I was asking for. So literally, I had to create it for myself. And I had this vision of all these walnut trees on my property. My whole 2-point-something acres filled with trees and fruit, enough for my family, for other families around me, and enough for the wild animals that surround us. So enough for everyone. And if not just if every other person or 1 of 10 people would do this, we would never have hunger again. With what we have learned from the past of the farming to where we come now with permaculture, where with Geoff Lawton making the desert green, and in Iceland and in the northern part, where they're using the geothermal technology and creating these greenhouses that are using no energy but the natural energy that is available to all of us. So there are ways. It doesn't matter where you want to live. You can find a way there. We have only clay and rocks here where we live, and I'm amazed that with a little bit of things that you add to the soil. Luckily, I have farmers here. I have a local farmer that has an abundance of cow manure sitting there for a long time, and he has no use for it. And I asked him, and he came and loaded me 20 yards for free of cow manure. And that's all you need.
It's like helping each other out. You're getting it out of there for them, and you're getting fertilizer at the same time. So there's a lot of stuff that could work that way, where it's like, just recently it came to my daughter. She had bought this van she's trying to transform into like a travel van. So it's like a church van with a 15-seat van, and she didn't need the seats in it. So she's like out there unbolting them, and then she thinks, you know what? I wonder if somebody on Facebook wants these. They can have them for free if they take them out. So she did that, and she ended up, somebody got free seats, and she didn't have to take them out. So it's like that with a lot of different things. But I wanted to ask you while I'm thinking about it for those people, because I know a lot of people that started planting during this whole lockdown thing, the first time around anyway, and they're actually doing really good, growing and having their gardens. Other people say they're having problems finding seeds, but then a lot of the things we buy have seeds. You mentioned tomatoes. How many things do you know of that we can just buy one and just use the seeds out of it and plant it if we're having problems locating seeds to plant?
Exactly. And you know what? Just try it, and you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised what might come out of that seed. Or a couple of seeds. I would save several, and you'd be surprised, something might grow from it.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, there are many ways that you can, if you start looking around, and you could get free mulch. People tree companies that trim, because the mulch is going to help you. If you put that on top of the soil,
Mm-hmm.
it retains the water, so you do
Right.
less watering. So if water is an issue, oh my God, there's just no reason why anyone could start planting something, and your children, they would love it. Today, my children and I, a neighbor called, and she has an abundance of raspberries. We had 3 buckets full of raspberries. We have enough raspberries for the rest of the year.
Wow.
And the universe is in complete support of this. So Mother Earth, Gaia, she's doing everything she can to help you grow this. She will assist you. She's resilient, and she wants us to do this. So that greener earth, we're creating it. Like I said, I had this vision on one of my last meditations that I did that was very powerful, probably the last one that I will, because like I said, I was told that I needed to plant the seeds, and also to be, because I want to say I've been on the cloud for 7 years. I've been in, I've through the meditations, I have seen everything, possible future timelines. I've also seen other things that that might possibly take place.
Mm-hmm.
How was this? I'm losing my thoughts. Okay. Oh, yes. But it said that basically that I needed to be more present, and everything I learned, put it into practice in my daily life. So even though I no longer feel like Jesus is right next to me, or any of these, like I felt that they were so close to me, it's because I have it all within myself. And if I need them, I can call on them, and they are right there. Mother Mary, when I need to be held and nurtured, she was there for me, so I know how to call on her. I have a song for her. If I need the warrior, there's a warrior song, The Last Mohicans. I meditate to that song to get me into that trance, and then the warrior comes in. If I need the Christ consciousness, the female part, I think about Mary Magdalene. I have a song for her that is mystical. And one is if I need Jesus, I can call on him. So basically, I know now that I have all this support on the archangels, on all the archetypes if I need them. But it really comes down to me. It comes down to every thought, every action, and every word that you say. So it doesn't matter. The logistics, the details, the stories don't matter. What matters is the present moment, is this moment. When the opportunity comes and somebody comes to you, maybe they're angry, or maybe they're sad, or maybe they're triggering you, how will you react? It's not about them. It's about you. Because you're the one that's awakened. You're the one that has searched for this knowledge. You're the one that has been, so you've done the work. So if that's at that moment, you can see how far you've come, or if you still need to work on it. And let me tell you something. I've been very grounded lately, and I've been without floating, without being in the fifth dimension. Mm-hmm. This is the real challenge. How do you navigate? How do you try to how do you go through your daily life with your relationships, first of all, of the people in your home? And if however you feel, however you react, that is a sign of you did it, you figured it out, you got it, you nailed it. Mm-hmm. Or I still got to work on that one. I'm still feeling the anger. I'm still taking the stories personal. So
yeah. But just as even at the point, even at the point when you get to where you're like, I finally figured it out. You get triggered again, and you realize, it's an ongoing process, I guess. Yeah.
Yes, it is. So if you want to, so I guess if you want to get really good at this, we're recreating. So I feel as I'm like, okay, so when I had the Kundalini awakening, that was my resurrection. Sort of like that was my resurrection, and now I'm creating myself. I'm trying to create myself with who I want to become. Like, I know I don't have it right. I don't have it down yet as this vision of like how Mary Magdalene was, or Isis was, or Jesus was. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I just give them so much credit now for how they walked this earth, how they became these archetypes. But they did the work.
It was way harder back then, wasn't it?
Well, no, I think this time it's harder because they did not have a lot of the distractions that we have now.
I don't know. They had people trying to kill them and feed them to the lions and burn them at the, just over the years, it seems like.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. The Middle Ages. Oh, my God. Yeah. Yeah, we had definitely.
Or crucify them back in those days. Yeah.
Like they did to Jesus. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, we have a different kind of challenges now. And it's how we have to so I'm still trying to create this, and I haven't figured it out yet, because I said, okay, when I'm in a place where I know I'm surrounded with the people, nobody, I'm probably the only one awake in this room. Mm-hmm. Okay, so how do I speak to them, or how do I plant that seed? Maybe just a little seed. And also, how do I carry myself? I remember when Jesus was in my life, when he was integrated into me, I was dressing differently, almost like Mother Mary. I wanted to wear the veil. I felt like wearing white, and so, but now it's me, it's Myrna of the 2020, it's of this century. So how do I recreate that? And how do I have fun with these teachings, with these days, and the new songs that we have in these new times, and the way that now we live? Because we're not in Atlantis, we're not in the time of Jesus, we're in this time. Yeah. How do we recreate ourselves? The same light workers that were there at that time, and we had a way that we carried ourselves. Mm-hmm. How do we find a way to carry ourselves in this time where there are no rules?
Right.
There are no rituals necessary anymore.
Yeah.
So it's this amount of an infinite amount of choice of a way that we can express ourselves, and that we recreate ourselves.
Absolutely.
And
that's and I think that's really the difference. Are we going to step up and be key players and be like Jesus? If you think about I know it's been 2,000 years, but if you think about the influence one man has had on the entire world, I mean, you can't hardly go anywhere and people don't know who Jesus Christ is in whatever their language, you know what I mean? So that's just one person. And if, like Jesus said, we would do the things he did and greater, think about a world filled with a bunch of Jesuses, and he was a rebel to the whole religious system.
Yes. And we are all here, and we are all just at the dawning of this and trying to figure out, how do we emerge? Mm-hmm. How do we emerge? How do we represent? How do we dress? How do we speak? How do we carry ourselves with this knowing, with this grace that this is going to develop, that as we go and as we lose less and less fear and doubt of self, of what we're capable of.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to confirm something before I forget to mention it, because you said you had this during meditation. You got this vision of like all these people starting their own gardens and almost like growing new earth, right? Like just scattered all over. And I got that same vision early on when I heard all of these people, like Shiny's one, that I went and saw her garden. It's really beautiful with all this stuff growing, and I was shown how all of these people all over the world were doing that. And if you can imagine, just like earlier this week, I got the whole Levin teaching that came to me during meditation, and it was about how just a little bit of yeast in the dough spreads throughout the whole batch. And it's the same thing with this garden thing you're talking about. I saw how it was overgrowing at some point into other yards and just spreading, just and just growing in an abundance and food everywhere. So I got the same vision. I just wanted to chime in and let you know, because we kind of got away from you talking about seeing that. And I wanted to say I saw the same thing. So it's awesome.
Many of us are, if you haven't seen it yet, believe me, when you start looking at YouTube and you start looking up food forests, and you see the people who are doing this, even though they're not quote unquote awakened, they are awakened. You see how their awakening is happening through this way, because there's something about working with the earth and putting your hands in the soil, and there's an incredible sense of peace and love and joy when you're also picking. There's something that is released in your body.
Well, you're grounding out there. That's awesome for you too. Yeah.
Exactly. So you will see that there is a connection. If whoever feels that's calling, that don't know what we have decided as a family that this is one of the ways that we are showing them the way. Because not only is it something that we might have to do anyways, if we're really serious about we want a new system, want a system that no longer contributing to the damage that is doing to the earth. That it has to start. You have to start with yourself, with ourselves. We have to do the work. We have to stop being a part of the pollution and be a part of the solution. And a simple way that you can do it that will benefit you and other people is by planting seeds, by starting a garden. And you're not only going to be, it's going to be helping you spiritually, mentally, and physically, because you will be eating something that's organic, that has been grown with love, with your love. So you're putting that into the food that you eat now. So it's helping you in the three ways, and divinely helping you.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, and providing food at the same time.
And providing, so it's like a win-win situation. And it's something that when people from the outside come and visit you, and they see this, they see the benefit of that, and it just it's starting to become a part of your life, and of that part of that person that you're creating, that you're co-creating, that you're emerging as this light worker that you are, that you care about the earth, that you want to be a part of the change, is one of the things that you can do, if you can. And other people will be called to do other things. Maybe, for example, we know we have a problem with the homelessness, and I received this idea, this thought, and I don't know, I think that it might have been Jesus who guided me, because he always shows me a lot about it's one of the issues that is so injustice to me, to see so many people that are living on the streets. So I had this idea that of these people uniting, because some of them receive pensions, and some of them are veterans. They're decent people, and they're just broken, but a lot of these, if these people could unite and be granted, maybe to create a grant of some kind, and let's say, like in that state, there was a part of a land that could be sold very cheap, they could house all these people. So, and that now that you have this, where you can convert buses, school buses that sell, you can convert them into a mobile home. Now, so imagine these different communities in all these states that have these eco villages of people that used to be homeless, and now they have hookups for their buses that have been converted into a small home that gives them everything they need. We have whole families living in some of these converted vehicles. But now they have the option that if you have these eco villages, for example, maybe it could be smaller earthship homes that use earth. You know the earthship homes. They have a system of water that is recycled. So imagine these tiny homes for these people that they bought the land, they own the land, and because some of them receive some money, like I said, so those details with somebody that has an accounting or that has the financial, but the basic idea is that it's a community. And it's a community where then you can have teachers coming into these communities and helping these people with addictions, helping these people with their lives and give them dignity, you know. And but now that they're mobile, if they don't like to be in an area or for whatever reason they want to go to a different area, now they can go from that eco-village, let's say the New Eden of, you know, whatever, they can go to another state. And so they can, you know what I mean? So they have an option of moving to different locations if they want to experience different people or different environments.
Yeah,
it's just one of the ideas that I had.
Yeah, you know what I was thinking? Because my buddy Carrie that lives out in New Mexico lives at one of those places where they have like a lot of veterans and they live off the earth and they a beautiful little community there and helping people just like you're talking about. But I was thinking if you had like a network of them across the whole United States, then maybe you could have like a transport van that sort of toured around and then people could travel from one to the other if they wanted to change up their scenery, you know?
Exactly. It can be a mobile home, and that's how you also get these grants, and you can, you know, you're not taxed. I believe on a property that doesn't have a foundation, there's different ways of it's not taxed or very, very low taxed if there's any, or might not be any at all.
Right.
So this is just one idea, and I'm a simple-minded person. I haven't had great education, but it's just the concept, this idea, you could see it, right?
Oh, yeah.
So and this is just me, but imagine you put great minds together, motivated people that have connections, have means and ways of doing this. This is one of the ways that we can help these people that are homeless and will become homeless in the future. Most people, you know, don't want to live in a slave society anymore when they're just living to work and pay this mortgage, and then they don't even get to enjoy it. They come home and they're tired, and then they got to do it again the next day.
Yeah.
We want our freedom. We want to have time to enjoy our families, to enjoy nature, to enjoy music and art, and enjoy the earth, which is beautiful. And I believe that's what we're creating right now, are the ones that are awakening and are coming up with these ideas and new systems. And as we can see, the old system is, it's crazy. I don't know how this will take, but it looks like there will be a time of change. And I don't know how hard it's going to get, but it is going to get hard for a lot of people. And for example, we're making personal changes right now because of what's going on in the financial system. You know, we don't have a huge mortgage, but we're in the process right now of trying to find a low interest rate, because a fixed one for the lowest price right now, because the way it looks like people that try to get a loan in the future, if we have deflation, there may be an increase on interest rates. So, you know, that's what happened after 2008, I believe, during that crash. And I've done some research back in 2022. What year was it? 1920s, the Depression, the Great Depression. You know, so we will be affected. So I highly recommend to a lot of people, get your lowest interest rates right now, because we're still in the 3D Earth. We're still having to manage these financial things. This is still part of our reality, and I can't put my head in the ground anymore, or my head in the clouds, and not face this. So my feet are grounded. I'm very grounded right now, and I'm trying to take care of all of our affairs. So if this does crash and we do come into hard times, that we have the lowest payment, and we have the money to buy more trees, to buy more seeds, And I also, just before I go, in case somebody else wants to talk, I wanted to mention, I share with everyone, I know that there's a vaccine debate. Do you take the vaccine? Do you not take the vaccine? I'm totally against vaccination. I've been for several years, and my children haven't been vaccinated since I awakened. But I wanted to share a debate with everyone that I highly recommend for people to check it out. And it's with a very reputable person. It's Robert Kennedy Jr., who is the son of Robert Kennedy. And this debate is an incredible debate, and it's called Robert Kennedy Jr. Vaccine debate with Dershowitz. D as in David, E-R, S as in Sam, H-O-W-I-T-Z. I highly recommend that you listen to this debate and hopefully, so you can make a wise decision about vaccines.
Definitely want to go into that informed, that's for sure.
Yes.
And there's plenty of stuff out there about it, and I don't know why. Even just mentioning that word right now, they might block it or something, because it's just how. And you have to wonder about that kind of stuff, because that other video came out and they don't allow people to just make a choice of their own. You have to wonder the stuff that they want to leave up to them to make the choice for you, and then the stuff that they do. So you can kind of see their agenda just by looking at what they're just wanting to just allow you to do, and then what they're sort of pushing a little bit more. And then you can see how they don't want the freedom to choose this other drug that people are talking about, but they do want to force this other thing that you're talking about. So it's all there. Sorry, I'm talking in code, but I think you guys smell what I'm stepping in.
Yes. And I also wanted to mention New Earth Project YouTube with Sasha Stone. Yeah. And these are great minds that are getting together to basically trying to put out the word and trying to bring unity and certain issues like, do you wear a mask or do you not wear a mask? You know what I mean? That's just one of the topics. But New Earth Project is another place where you can be a part of if it resonates with you, check it out. And one last thing, I wanted to ask if anybody else who's sensitive like I am, 2 days ago, it was yesterday morning, I woke up and I experienced vertigo. When you feel like dizzy and you can't stand, and I hit my head on the wall. You feel like you're drunk, but when you get up in the morning, you can barely walk. Vertigo, I believe that's what it's called. What was interesting about this is that that my son happened to be camping with his friends, and I mentioned it this morning to him. Oh, hey kids, this happened to your mama, and my son says, "Oh my God, Mom, I experienced exactly the same thing while I was over there camping." So I was just wondering if anybody else experienced this vertigo, and if anybody knows what this means, because we have no idea. Even though I've heard of other people experiencing something like that, but it was just to me, it was strange that I experienced it and he experienced it, and we were in two different places.
But it was around the same time,
you're saying? At the same time.
Oh, wow.
Yes, yesterday morning, we were both out of balance, couldn't stand on our 2 feet. Or I want to say that I didn't start feeling better until from 6:30, when I woke up first time at 6:30, to about almost noon during the day.
Okay, so what time zone are you in? Are you in Central time zone or Mountain?
I am in Mountain time.
Okay, so it's 8:22 for you. Do you know about what time it was for you guys when it happened? Just roundabout yesterday morning?
It was early morning. When I got up, I was, so basically, it could have happened even before I woke up, but that's when I woke up around 6:30 in the morning, and that's when I was completely, had no balance, and I didn't feel better. I was nauseous the whole time and still trying to figure out what was going on. Didn't feel better, normal, until 12, until noon, Mountain Time.
Silver Moon is saying, yes, vertigo, weird. Okay, so the way I describe vertigo is feeling like instead of, for me anyway, instead of it feeling like you're spinning, like when you're dizzy and you're spinning, it feels more like you're falling backwards, like there's this constant falling backwards feeling. That's how it was for me. So how did both of you experience it?
Well, definitely the dizziness, but instead of me falling backwards, I was like left or right and forward.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, but yeah, it's just like you, sounds similar, but I was just wondering if anybody else experiencing this, because that's two of us, and I'm
Alva's saying she felt slight vertigo yesterday too. Now I can definitely tell you I felt a little bit of dizziness, a little bit of nauseousness yesterday, and
I
want to say a little bit of headache, a little bit of an agitated feeling, a little bit of anxiety. All felt like external forces. They didn't feel like, I didn't have any reason to feel anxious or well, I had reasons to feel anxious, but I'm not anxious about any of that stuff. We could always have things we could feel anxious about, right? But I could definitely tell it was external. Yeah, but it was powerful energies coming in. So I felt the anxiety. I had to take breaks with that. I felt a little bit of the dizziness, a little bit of the nauseousness, and that's been going on for probably a week or two, with the feeling a little bit of wave of sickness here and there. Even pains in my stomach. Has anyone had stomach pains, just really quick ones? Not like, it's just the phantom pain in your stomach that comes and goes really fast.
Like a sharp?
Yeah, just like a sharp pain, just out of the clear, just out of the blue.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of weird stuff going on. I don't really know, And then the hiccup thing that I said, I don't know if anybody else has been getting lots of hiccups. I don't know. I just like to mention everything.
Not to mention the electronics. That's a huge one.
Oh yeah.
And I lost. The electronics. It's never been this crazy. I'm surprised that my headphones are working, because especially my headphones, I'm going through the second pair, and my phone it's almost like it's like in between places. It feels like, and it doesn't know what to do. It should be connecting, and it doesn't even connect with my phone. So it's like, I don't know. It's almost like it's in between two worlds, almost like it doesn't have an idea. I don't know. It seems very strange. So definitely a big one that I've noticed is the electronics, and the other one. There was one. Loss of time. Don't know what happened this month, but at the beginning of this month, I was lost by 2 weeks. I don't know what happened to those 2 weeks. It was just the weirdest thing. I was sure that I had sent out some payments for my bills, and then I get a late notice. I was like, what? But I know I paid for it. I know. So the time went so fast that it actually, what I had in my mind was the previous month payment. I somehow missed the whole Independence time and the beginning of the month, and found myself almost in the middle towards the end of the month. And I had no idea what happened to those 2 weeks. So that feeling of losing a time, or time just speeding up.
Okay, so the time thing. Let me ask you this: have you had any weird stuff with deja vu, or what's the other, the nostalgic feelings coming back, or just strange memories?
Okay, because I don't meditate as much as I actually haven't been meditating. My meditations now have turned into more of a workout to strengthen my physical body, to face the physical challenges that I'm feeling, and mental challenges. I haven't experienced that, but I have experienced the sense, my peripheral vision. I get the sense, I'll glance and I think I see a very tall being, or some being on my peripheral vision. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's
definitely.
What I've been experiencing.
Is it shadowy or is it light for you?
It's like blending in with whatever is there, but the sense of a presence.
Okay, so just kind of
so
movement, then not really light or dark. Yeah, okay, I've gotten all three.
Like
sometimes
standing.
it's shadowy, sometimes it's light, sometimes it's movement. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
That's
So
really cool.
that-
Don't you
I'm
feel like that's a
experiencing lot of
blending?
that.
That's kind of like what you were saying the electronics were doing, sort of like in between two worlds sort of thing, it seems like, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like we're in an in-between stage where, these things we share between dimensions, and sometimes maybe I have no idea, but it feels like it doesn't know how to connect with when it's. I don't know. It's just very strange. It's like static. It's like it's confused or something. And that's what I've noticed with my electronics. Like my headphones never ever gave me problems or saying cannot connect to my phone.
Wow.
But
yeah,
then
I
it has
have
a
heard
hard
weird
time, and then
stuff
it'll
like
just
that.
go off.
Yeah, even at the beginning of
Yeah.
the show, the one
Yeah.
computer, I had to keep restarting, and I'm like, what's going on with that? So everything seems a bit finicky these days. And even my other computers just shut down out of the clear blue. So I'm glad it hasn't done it during any shows, but it has done it, just in the middle of the day. It's like, why did it just do that? It just freezes up. And so I don't know. Yeah, I feel you with the electronics. It does seem like there's always something strange going on with that.
Yes. But anyway, Shane, I gotta go. I gotta go and call about
thank you.
what I'm trying. My finances. Yes.
Okay, thanks for calling in, Myrna. Have a good one. Lots of love.
Yes, you too. Thank you very much, Shane, for everything you do. I really appreciate your work.
Oh,
and,
thank you.
Blessings to everyone who's listening.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
You too.
Let's go.
You're listening to The Love Stream.
Unbiased and on the fence.
Awesomeness. So yeah, let that be a encouragement for you guys to plant some gardens or whatever. I wish I could hear, like I was saying, that I might try to do something. I don't know, unless my landlord's listening. Then I'm just joking. But no, they got hanging gardens and stuff like that. So there's probably some alternatives that we should look into. Or maybe, it actually might be time to move. I don't know. It might be time to move. That might be where my future is headed. Wherever it is, I'm sure I'm going to have a great time doing it. And that's really all we can do during these times, you guys, is just breathe. That's first. Taking those conscious breaths are so important. Especially if you're having to work with a mask on, if you just increase your breaths by like twice as much, you're going to really suck a lot of air in around those masks and get more air and get more oxygen to yourself. So make sure you're breathing really deep. I know you have to consciously think about it, but you want to keep your oxygen levels up. Let's see here. Let's go back to the phone lines. Well, let's see. Did you want to talk? You don't have your hands up. Somebody hopped in here, though. Hit star 2 if you'd like to talk. But yeah, take deep breaths, guys. If you have to wear a mask, I had to wear one in the store the other day. I don't really resist. I do wear it if they require it. If they don't, I don't, pretty much. But I keep my social distance, and I respect people that are scared or want to wear their mask for the protection. All that good stuff. Let's see. 1 second, you guys. Go off the air.
Coast, and
Okay,
I'm looking at.
I'm gonna bring you into the call, Erica. So, can you spell your name for me?
Erika.
Awesome. And you say you're calling from Alabama?
Alabama. Yeah.
Down by the coast?
I'm right on the Gulf Coast, but right now I'm stuck in the swamp. which I like to call mobile, which most other people say it's mobile, but it's mobile.
That's funny. We were driving down to Panama City, Florida, and went through Mobile, Alabama. My brother ran a red light because he was just dazed from driving. We got pulled over, and the cops like, "You ever been to Mobile?" And I thought he said, "Have I ever been immobile, like not able to move, like in a wheelchair?" Because I didn't know where we were. And I'm so glad the answer was right, because I just said, "No, sir, officer," but I had no idea what he's asking me. I was only like 15, but it was so funny. He was so country sounding, I could barely make out what he was saying, and then I didn't understand him right, but I answered the question right. Thank goodness.
Sorry, my beloved other is trying to question me. Yes, I'm on the phone with, but now definitely is mobile. Yes, my beloved other. But anyway, I called you because. Oh, good Lord. See, this is what happens to me. This is my life. I know it's loud and there's other people around. Yes. But they're not awake right now. They're sleeping. Jesus Christ. Go to sleep. This is part of our life. We'll just go lay down and everything will be fine. I know. I'm being loud right now. But no one else can hear me. I think there's a move, and everything is fine. I know, but anyway, so here we are.
So how's the weather down there since the hurricanes moved through? Is everything cooling off or getting hot again?
Yeah, the hurricanes, I don't know what they call it. It's Isa. I don't know how to be louder. I mean, softer than I am right now. Hey, go inside. I know we're neighbors, and they're all asleep. Look at them. No one has their lights on. They're not even here. They're all asleep. So this is what's happening in Mobile. Good God. Help me. Help us all. Please help us all. But anyway, what I was trying to say was, I'm on the phone, man. People, no, I'm on the phone with the radio, man. Okay, well, I guess we're not going to talk anymore.
Well, thanks for calling in.
Okay, see you later.
See you later.
Bye.
Have fun down in Mobile.
Yeah, this is what happened. See ya.
Peace.
Let's go.
You're listening to The Love Stream.
Unbiased and on the fence.
Erica in Mobile, Alabama. Having a good time down there, sounds like. Yes, we're all children at heart. And all of our neighbors are usually asleep, even when they're awake, maybe, sometimes. But it's all good. I'm sure they appreciate the happy sounds emanating from the neighborhood. All right, you guys, I'm going to wrap this one up. I will be on with the Twin Flame Divine Fire Radio folks tomorrow. So please do join. I will drop in links. So look for that tomorrow. And you can actually call in and join live. Ask me some questions. Like, you know, because I know you guys are dying to call in. I'm just teasing. Anyway, lots of love and light. Lots of love, light, and unity to each and every one of you guys. Have a good one. Be sure to check out the website at uotf.net. There you will find the live stream schedule displayed in your local time right there on the front page. Below that, you'll find links to take the Beyond Quantum Healing course at a discounted rate, purchase our book, Mandela Effect, Friend or Foe, in paperback or ebook, or to contact me to schedule a BQH session. At the top of the site, you'll find links to help support the work I do, access the free private forum where you can discuss organizing get-togethers in your area, Mandela effects, and more. Thank you all so much for being here.